The longtime Wiper Lake Fire Chief is honored for his time in fire service. We'll tell you his plans as he heads into retirement and what he says is the department's biggest accomplishment.
It's a great time of the year to express gratitude, and we'll show you how you can say thanks to police while also helping children in need.
I'm Tracy Menarchuk. Welcome to Lake Area Beat.
And I'm Ron Hawkins. We're hanging out on White Lake, where in just a few weeks, thousands will gather to kick off the polar plunge.
And we're also going to be talking about ice safety in this half hour. A truck recently went through the ice on the lake, so people really need to be careful.
Yes, and so on another subject, how was your holidays?
Holidays were good for me. We celebrated with friends, family, neighbors. How about you?
Yeah, same thing.
Same thing?
Minus the neighbors.
I
guess
see
I
you.
didn't celebrate with neighbors. Yeah, it was good. The holidays were good.
More holidays? That would be good.
Let's have more holidays.
Good food? Then we'll be rolling out here on the ice. Oh, it'll be warm for the polar plunge, though. We should have more holidays.
Yes.
The young man in our first story has a lot to be grateful for. Ray Widstrand was brutally assaulted in St. Paul over 3 years ago, but he's made a miraculous recovery for the first time since his assault. He takes us back to his old apartment on the east side.
He talked about how forgiveness played a role in his recovery and about his new role as motivational speaker.
For the first time since Ray Widstrand took a life-changing walk over 3 years ago, we stopped by his old apartment on St. Paul's east side.
Which apartment is yours?
Ground level on the other side of the building. So I would park back here.
During that walk, he stepped into a fight to help a young woman, and in turn, a gang of teenagers assaulted and nearly killed him.
I'm not nervous. I'm not afraid. I wasn't afraid back then of this neighborhood, and I'm definitely not now. It's still a nice neighborhood. The majority of people, vast majority, are great people, very friendly, very helpful, and they're just trying to get by, like we all are.
Ray took us along the path he walked that night and told us what he remembers.
By the time I actually took a walk, it could have been around 10:30.
Although he doesn't recall the exact spot he was left unconscious or the assault itself, he explains what likely happened.
They say I was initially attacked from behind, struck on the back of the head probably with probably some sort of blunt instrument. Their guess was a lock, like a metal lock in a sock that someone had hit me on the back of the head with. That again sent me to the ground, and my head probably initially cracked open right there.
Ray has overcome both physical and mental challenges. Considering doctors were surprised by his survival, they had little hope for his recovery.
That was hard to, hear that. We don't know if you're ever going to walk again. We don't know if you're ever going to speak clearly again. We don't know if you'll ever be back on your feet. Just that doubt was really hard to hear.
Having regained his speech, he's found a voice speaking to kids about staying positive and motivated, the very things that helped him heal.
Did some of the people that jump you get arrested?
Some did. The police were very good at bringing some of the assailants to justice.
We followed him to a middle school where he talked to a group of students about his experience.
This was a challenge that, really it was a challenge, and I'm glad I had the opportunity to come and reach out to young people. And yeah, I just really appreciate the opportunity.
Ray plans to meet new goals that will provide him with more independence, like driving and living on his own, and he credits forgiveness as a guiding force.
No, pretty much as soon as I could communicate again, I forgave the people. In my opinion,
He says he's thought a lot about that night and wouldn't change how he reacted or all that's followed since his choice to intervene.
I acted in a selfless nature just because it was the right thing to do, and that's sort of how I feel about it. It's like, could it have been a factor? It could have been, maybe it was, but I don't know for sure, and I think just doing the right thing speaks for itself.
It's really amazing the progress he's made, and he's so forgiving about it.
I know.
Good for him.
Absolutely. It's just an incredible story. First, just a tragic scenario, and he's doing something good about it.
Yeah.
Without a doubt. We're going to take a break, but first, here's Sergeant John Vetty with some safety advice.
I'm Sergeant John Vetty. If you're expecting a package delivered to your doorstep, you may be disappointed when it never arrives. It's time we all start to outsmart criminals. The police department has witnessed a trend in thieves following delivery trucks and stealing packages as soon as they're delivered. Hundreds of millions of packages are delivered before, during, and after the holiday season. But just a few simple tips can ensure you get what you're expecting. The U.S. Postal Service allows you to authorize deliveries to be left at a back or side door, on the porch, garage, or with a neighbor. You simply create an account at USPS.com and enter a tracking number to determine whether the delivery is eligible. FedEx, UPS, and Amazon also offer delivery alternatives. Check their websites for options. Many people simply choose to have packages delivered to their workplace to ensure safe delivery. We'll never do away with criminals, but we can make their illegal activities more difficult. I'll see you next time.
Welcome back. You may have noticed some signs popping up around town, but did you have any idea these signs also help kids?
Print for Change Administrator Jim Rickard is here to tell us how it all works. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. We're really pleased to be here.
Yeah.
And I remember the first time I saw a sign, I thought, wow, where'd that sign come from? That's a new sign. I like it.
Right. Well, it actually, the idea came from a longtime White Bear resident, a friend of ours, who said, hey, I want you to print these signs up for us. So we just did, being a printing company, had no idea what he was going to do with them. But yeah, lo and behold, Thanksgiving Day, he snuck up and stuck one in the police department's front yard, and,
Yep.
and then it just kind of went from there. So yeah, so that's how it got started.
Do you have kind of an idea of how many of these things have been going out the door?
There hasn't been a whole lot yet because the word has just started to get out, but the people who have ordered them were like very appreciative. They're like, thank you for giving us a tangible way to say thank you, and a visible way to say thank you. So yeah, so that's how it got going.
Yeah, and so tell us a little bit about how about where the money goes to and how that kind of came about. That's
Yep,
kind of
so
an interesting
Print for
story.
Change is an online printing company. It was started actually by another White Bear Lake resident, Jeff Gasik, and his wife, and they were the only online printing company that donates 50% of our profits to help women and children living in extreme poverty in Haiti. So Jeff and his wife have a mission in Haiti, and back in 2009, they just sort of looked at the way things are with the internet and being able to purchase things on the internet, and they said, you know, gosh, we know printing, you know, why don't we start an online printing company, and then people can order, and then 50% of our profits will go down to help us provide food and clean water and education and that in Haiti. So.
Wow.
Yeah, that is extremely gracious.
It's like paying it forward almost.
It's absolutely paying it forward.
Thanking
It's
us and helping
exactly.
people in Haiti.
So, and you know, we realize that, you know, even though you know, our money that we help people with goes to Haiti, you know, we still live in communities here, and we're certainly grateful for all the men and women in the police department and the fire department that do what they do every day, and just being able to say thank you. And
So I think
easy way to do it.
I think you had mentioned off air that the owners of the company, they actually have been to Haiti and they've seen firsthand. What kind of stories have?
Well, there's lots of stories. They've been going. Well, they actually have a mission in Haiti, and then even Print for Change, we take clients down 2 or 3 times a year and show them, this is what we're able to do because of your printing with us. And so, we have an orphanage that we have about 28 kids there that we take care of. In addition to that, there's a school that has about 400 children that attend that school. A lot of kids don't get, because you have to pay for school in Haiti, they don't get to go to school, or if parents have children, they maybe send one, but they can't afford to send more than one. So, so we have a school, we have a church just outside of our orphanage that we built. We just launched a commercial bakery down there that will employ about 120 families once it's fully functional and up and running. So we're very excited about that. And then, we have other schools that we help support either by paying for teacher salaries or helping, the kids to go to school. And then one of our kind of flagship, ministries, and one of the first things we did when we got there is there's an area called City Soleil. It's the poorest slum in the Western Hemisphere, and there's no running water, no electricity, no garbage collection, no bathrooms, no anything. So we have a 3,500-gallon water truck that we fill up 4 times a day. We hired 4 Haitians to drive this truck, and so they pull into City Soleil, they honk their horns, and people line up with their buckets, and we fill them up with clean chlorinated water so that they have clean water to drink. So it's really a blessing to be able to do that and have an impact
and helping
in the world,
sustain something better, so you're not just going down there handing them something that they can just use for a little while and need something later.
It's absolutely a hand up, not a handout, and we don't believe in doing anything for the Haitians that they can't do for themselves. So we don't build a lot of things. Everything that we do down there is all Haitian built and Haitian. We hire the Haitians to do that, and that's really what they're looking for, is just an opportunity.
So real quick, what are some of the other products that you have? We have some viewers that are thinking, gosh.
Exactly. If you go to printforchange.com, you can see everything that we have on there, but everything from business cards to banners and brochures and postcards, all the things you would typically find online.
Invitations and stuff like that.
Yep, and if there's something you don't see online, you can just give us a call and say, hey, this is what I'm looking for, and we can help you out with that.
And then part of that money goes right back.
And then part of that money goes right back. So it's a you can do a whole lot of good with just a little bit of just a simple purchase. So
that's wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, good information.
Yep. So if if you're interested in picking up one of these signs, you can just go to printforchange.com, and then under the products tab, you'll find the White Bear Police thank you signs. And what we did was we actually purchased a bunch of them in bulk and actually have them here locally. Because it was actually to print one and then ship it. It was actually more to ship it than it was to print it. So we just ordered a bunch of them. So you order it online, and it's $8, and that's tax included and stakes. And then you can pick it up locally in White Bear, and there's an address where you can pick up the signs. So
they don't have to wait for it.
Don't have to wait for it. They just go pay for it and then go pick it up. So
and that's cheap. I might have to get one.
You should get one.
You have one.
You're welcome, Ron.
Right, yeah. Well, thank you very much.
Well, thank you. I really appreciate you having me. It was a real pleasure.
Yeah,
thank you.
Hey, you're doing good work.
And you all are as well. We're very grateful.
Thanks.
GTN producer Joe Cullen and his wife Tani have been very open about their journey as parents of a child with autism.
Tani recently wrote a book explaining how their son Josiah, who's nonverbal, found a way to share his voice. Here's their story.
There we go. We were ready to start our lives as a family, and Josiah was doing great, and he was meeting his medical milestones. He was a little late to walk, but once he mastered that, it was kind of like, whew, that was close.
It's every first-time parent's dream, bringing a healthy baby into a happy home. And Joe and Tani Cullen were overjoyed to welcome baby Josiah into their family.
Obviously, when you have a child, you gain this love for this child.
The couple embraced their new role as mom and dad, and for nearly 2 years, Josiah's behavior was typical. But at 22 months, it was as though a light switch was turned off.
he began to really shift dramatically over about a period of 3 weeks. We started losing eye contact. He started losing the words that he had, words like mama and dada and banana and things like that. Precious words, you know.
4 months later, doctors diagnosed Josiah with autism. Throughout the years, the Cullens tried a dozen treatments, but nothing seemed to help. They made this video of Josiah as a baby, now a reminder of a more hopeful time. In 2010, after seeing a documentary called A Mother's Courage, Tani learned about the rapid prompting method where children with autism can communicate using an iPad. Josiah, unable to speak for most of his life, finally had a voice.
I had the iPad up. It has alphabetical letters and big buttons across. And he ends up pressing the letter G. And I thought, oh, he's missing it. And he goes on to spell his first ever independent sentence, God is a good gift giver. And it was that moment that was shocking, that changed everything.
Many of Josiah's writings, all done using the rapid prompting method, are filled with stories of God, wisdom, and faith. Tani says Josiah asked her why she didn't share them on Facebook, and so she started Josiah's Fire in 2013, which led to Josiah's Fire, the book.
We realized, you know what? This might be an opportunity to share a testimony that could really bring hope to people. And that's why we decided to write the book.
Tani says the feedback she's received from around the world has been overwhelming. Although she intended the book to be for parents of kids with autism, it has touched a broader audience with a message of faith and hope.
No school today.
Huh?
She hopes, too, it will open people's minds about the minds of nonverbal children.
They're there. They may not be able to show on the outside everything that's going on the inside, but that doesn't mean we can't keep reaching toward them.
All right, good story.
That was a great story, yeah.
And you know, if you still have some post-Christmas gifts to give, this would be a perfect gift.
It would be. And check out Josiah's Fire for more information. We're going to take a break, but when we come back,
We sit down with the man who's the talk of the town.
working with him on patrol and, you know, as a firefighter and paramedic has been completely different than working with him on the show, because the show he's I think way more himself and a lot funnier and relaxed, and at work he's very professional. So I don't know that I would have gotten to see this side of him if it was just working with him in a regular capacity. Welcome back. As we mentioned at the top of the half hour, a truck went through White Bear Lake recently. Actually, 2 vehicles.
Yes, it's so important to follow some basic safety guidelines on the ice. Ice safety expert Tom Ballas is here to tell us what we need to know. Tom, welcome to the show.
Thank you. And you have a very important tool for being on the ice, which is where we're at right now.
Thank you for having me. We'll go over a few safety tips for ice. We'll cover some ice thicknesses first. To walk out and do some general ice fishing, just to walk out on the ice, you want at least 4 inches. If you're going to be out with a snowmobile or a four-wheeler, you want at least 6 inches. If you're going to take a small vehicle, you want 8 to 12 inches. And if you're going to be out with a full-size pickup, you want at least 12 inches to 15 inches of ice.
So how would the general public know, other than going out and...
There's not little signs, right? Like,
Correct.
Today we are at...
Yeah, the best way to find out ice thicknesses is come down to the landing and talk with some fishermen or fisherwomen that are coming off the lake, or your local bait shop. If you contact your local bait shop, they're pretty good about giving you the ice conditions on parts of the lake or different lakes in the area, along with the ice conditions of nice thick black ice, hard ice, versus soft white ice.
Well, tell us a little bit more about
the black
that.
ice, because we all hear about the black ice on the roads. That's not good.
Correct.
But on the lake?
On the lake, black, clear ice is good. That's a nice hard ice. That is much safer than your white, soft ice. So if you have in the early season or late season especially, you get the white ice, you want to double the thicknesses for what you're going to be on. So if you usually need 8 inches, you need at least 16 to be on the white ice. So.
Okay.
That's interesting. So if you have black ice, it's normal level of thickness.
Yep.
But if it's the white ice, you need to double.
You need to double it.
Oh,
Correct.
All right. There's so much we need to know. Should we be
yeah.
on the ice? Is the ice ever safe?
The ice is never safe. I mean, you are out there always at your own risk. Some good tools to take with is I have my ice chisel with me. If you're going to be out on the ice, you always want to be poking the ice ahead of you, giving a few good hard pokes on the ice to see if it goes through, to check ice depths. If the chisel goes through, you want to go back the way you came. The ice is too thin. Once you get out there, you want to at least check ice chiseling away as you're walking out. And if you're doing ice fishing, drill a hole about every 150 yards. And ice can be 7 inches in one spot, and you could get 150 yards out and have 4 inches of ice. It just depends on the lake. So make sure you drill, and same with if you're going to take a vehicle on the ice ever, when it's thick enough and you feel safe, is drill that hole and make sure you don't park cars within 50 feet of each other.
50 feet of each other, or the hole, or everything?
From another vehicle.
Okay.
You want to disperse that weight a little bit, and the DNR recommends a safety tip. You can drill a hole in the area by the car, and if you see water starting to come up the hole, it's time to move the car. I mean, your car is weighting that ice down enough that you should move.
Too thin.
How about like ice thickness on lakes versus maybe like a river?
Correct. So as said before, it's never safe, and the part with the river is that you have currents moving, so that ice is always shifting a little bit on the thicknesses. So that one is, you really want to talk to some bait stores and some people who are very familiar with the river to know when and where to go out on the river.
And what about our own White Bear Lake has springs in it?
Correct.
Is that open water as well, or what about runoff?
Yes, so we do have some runoff that runs into the lake where we will always have some shallow, thin ice, as well as we do have springs. And the springs aren't necessarily always open. What happens with the springs is it just gets a much thinner ice layer. And so that's where your bait stores will be able to come in and tell you where those springs are, what points of the lake to avoid, where there's some rifts and that type of stuff. And anytime you're out on the lake, you know, if you're going out for the first time especially, is bring a life jacket with you. If you go through the ice, that ice is, 33 degrees. Bring a life jacket with you and have it on. That will certainly help. Bring a pair of ice spikes in case you fall through, so that if you fall through, turn around the way you came and get those ice cleats up onto the ice and kick your legs as hard as you can to get up on that ice. And once you're up, don't stand up, just roll back the way you came far enough till you can get back up. But
what if a friend or your dog, your companion goes through? Should you just go in the way they went in and pull them out? Or?
Yeah, no, if you do that, then you're going to end up with 2 people potentially in the water. If you're out there, if I go out for the first several times, I have a little rope with me, and I have a partner. It's always good to have a buddy system. If something happens to one, you can throw them a rope, they can grab it to get out. If you're walking your dog, keep them on a leash. That way there's a leash to help get the dog up and out. And if you go through, make sure someone has a cell phone to call 911 right away to get emergency services responding.
So make sure you prepare for it. Prepare for going in the water.
Absolutely.
Don't go in the water.
Yes, yes.
And go with a buddy so somebody can call for help.
Absolutely.
All right, anything that we missed?
I think we covered it. Be safe out there, be careful, and check with your bait store before you head out on the lake.
Great.
All right.
Good advice. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks, Tom. Retiring Chief Tim Vadnais has been the talk of the town since he announced his retirement.
He sat down with producer Mary Klein and photographer Nick Anderson to talk about his career and his plans for the future. Here's what he had to say.
I've been the fire chief for 29 years. All of a sudden, I'm no longer the fire chief. I'm kind of losing my identity. And so, I've got to get used to that too. But it'll be good.
Retiring White Bear Lake Fire Chief Tim Vadnais' fire career has been as long as it has been memorable.
Time flies when you're having fun. And that's exactly what it is.
One story he remembers most happened shortly after he started on the department 43 years ago. He remembers the day he played softball at Potvin Park, watching a plane overhead before it went down.
Right away, I knew the plane had crashed. So I got my car to go down to the station before my pager even went off. And on the way there, I came across the plane crash at Price Field. And it was a smaller plane. They had 4 passengers that had crashed, and it was just, there's nothing you could do. And I've never forgotten that.
There have been many events over the years and many honors. Vadnais was named Fire Officer of the Year in 2013, a very prestigious award, but he says he's most proud of the city's fire prevention record.
When I first started as chief, we averaged a fire death in the White Bear Fire District every 18 months. And it's been 30 years since we've had a fire death now. So that says it all. I mean, that's what it's all about. The fire department is all about, is saving lives, and it's working.
Vadnais attributes the success of the department to support from city officials as well as the men and women who serve. He says managing 80 different personalities has been challenging at times, but he knows his staff are in it for the right reasons.
I'm just steering the ship. Those guys did all the work. You know, those people wearing those uniforms are the people that deserve credit for all the accomplishments we've made as a department.
Vadnais, once an active fisher, hunter, and golfer, has put his hobbies on hold during his tenure as chief, but he plans to pursue them again, adding traveling to the list. And though he looks forward to the future, he leaves behind a calling he's loved.
It's just a tremendous job being in the fire service, on the ambulance, and so forth. It's so rewarding. Every day we have an opportunity to go out and help somebody on their worst day. And that is just very rewarding, and that's what hooked me.
And Tim Vadnais isn't the only one making news. In our public safety departments, someone is celebrating a milestone. It's you, Tracy. 20 years.
Yeah.
Wow, that's pretty good. So tell me, is 20 years, does it seem like it's been that long? It's gone by fast, or?
No, it doesn't seem like it's been that long.
All right.
Yeah, things have changed, but it doesn't seem like it's been.
Yeah, it goes
years.
by quick though, I bet, huh?
Yeah.
And so, what's your plans? And I'm prying, of course. Tell me it's none of my business. But do you ever think about retiring? I know you're like way
Every
young.
day.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I'm not close to retirement yet, but.
Yeah, I know. I mean, you
not
think
close.
about.
I think about it. I go, oh, wouldn't that be nice?
You think about you being on the job for 20 years, and you know you being. I mean, I know you look like you're 30, 32 or
That's
so.
exactly
so
how. Yep. Good. Yeah. Thanks.
16 is when you know.
12.
Yeah. Right.
32.
Anyway, so is there any particular big events that are just like maybe the most memorable for you in the past 20 years?
No, not one event. There's been just a lot of things throughout the career.
Mm-hmm.
But
your favorite part is being right
is
here.
being right next to Ron Hawkins. That's the highlight of my law enforcement career. No, it's positive contacts with people.
All right.
And then there's you in the show. I'm kidding.
Well, congratulations.
Well, thank you. And before we go, we like to welcome new officer Josh Gow to the department. He was a correctional officer in Ramsey County before joining White Bear Lake Police. We'll have to get him on the show and give him a Lake Area Beat welcome.
We will, and we'd also like to mention that White Bear Lake officers were recognized for their traffic safety enforcement in 2016 by Ramsey County. Officers arrested 81 people during traffic patrols, including 50 DWI arrests, so congratulations.
We're running out of time, but make sure to come out and cheer on our plungers on Saturday, January 28th, here on White Bear Lake. And you're plunging?
I am plunging, yes.
And I'm plunging.
All right.
I just need to get more teammates to plunge with me.
Oh,
I don't know why I can't convince them to come out here and go in the water.
Because it's gosh darn cold, right? Anyways, it's a good cause.
Oh my
We
gosh,
love it.
it's a good cause. It's a great cause, and it's a lot of fun actually. So thanks for joining us on this edition of Lake Erie Beat, this cold edition of Lake Erie Beat.
And
I'm Tracy Menarchek.
And I'm Ron Hawkins. Happy New Year, and we'll see you next time.